This is where like you really start learning when you get into Med-Surg. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to my channel. I am your fave nurse B. I know she switched it up. Alright you all, so today I want to talk about how LPN school is, my experience with LPN school. Keep in mind, I did go to school like 5 years ago, so of course things may have changed, but I just want to tell you my specific experience because I've been getting a lot of like questions and just seeing a lot of questions through Facebook groups about, I start school next week, what should I expect, or how was LPN school for you, was it hard? I do have a video talking about nursing school and why nursing school is hard, so definitely go watch that. It will help you to have a better perspective going in, and you'll know, okay, it's not me, I'm not the problem, it's just this was designed to be this way and this is why it's this hard. So definitely go watch that. So some things I want to get into before we get deep into the video is that so most nursing programs will tell you what they require of you in the beginning. So typically they'll tell you like you can only have these many days of absences, you can only have these many days of absences from class versus clinical. If you fight, you're completely eliminated from the program. They talk about how you should not work, do not work. I worked the whole time, full time. Almost everybody had to work. They talk about that. They also talked about what they require as far as the percentage that you have to get in each class to pass. I believe it was 76. Even if you got a 75.98, you flunked that course. You flunked it, and then you had the choice to either come back the next semester and retake it, or maybe you could take it. I think you had to do it like within a year. You can come back with the next class and retake it. But that's basically what it was. They told you what they expected you and what they're going to allow from you in order for you to get through this program. So they tell you right in the beginning, like there's no sugarcoat it, there's no like, oh I wonder. No, they tell you clearly what they expect of you in the beginning of the course. I'm just gonna talk to you about how it was for me and like the setup of everything. So first, starting off, the first week of school was basically like us introducing ourselves to each other and us just getting acclimated to coming to school every day. We did school Monday through Friday, and I think it was like from 8 to 4, I want to say. No, it was 8 to 3, and then the school actually closed at 4, and then you would have the weekends off. So I already have a video talking about how I worked while I was in nursing school, graduated at the top of my class. The whole time, worked full time, so go check it out if you're wondering how you can juggle both. Definitely go watch those videos. I'll have them linked down below. We learned our learning style that first week, and that helped you to know, okay, are you auditory learner, are you visual, all that's in the third. Got a video talking about that. And then also we did like introductions where people talked about why they were there, why they decided to become a nurse, yada yada yada. That's when the clique started to form. That even the first week the clique started to form. Is crazy. Video about cliques in nursing school. I got a video. We plug in all the videos. They're gonna be linked down below. That's when the clique started to form. And so it was just that we did like a little I don't even remember what they called it. But basically, sometimes we would read like these little articles about nursing in this book, just random stuff like about nursing informatics, like random stuff, the history of nursing. We went over that a little bit. And what else did we do? We had this book that was like how to survive nursing school, and it kind of like gave you questions about, you know, your personal life and how do you plan on getting through nursing school and all that. But it was just 1 week of basically us just sitting back doing nothing. Now we did have assignments, but it wasn't anything nursing related. Like as far as like, okay, these are your core classes. It was none of that. So then the next class we had was fundamentals of nursing. So this is really a foundation to nursing, fundamentals of nursing, and it really helps you to get started in the field. A lot of people compare it to CNA. Like you learn a lot of stuff that you will learn as a CNA, like how to change a bed, how to do a bedpan, how to clean a patient, how to do this and the third. But to me, it does go a little bit deeper, because once you start looking at those tests are not CNA tests. Those are real nursing tests. And this is where you be like, this stuff is super simple in the book when I'm learning it, but these tests are intense. So fundamentals of nursing is really going to start to show you how to answer nursing questions. And I do believe even in that first week, they had us doing NCLEX questions. So I highly recommend that you do as many NCLEX questions as possible throughout your entire nursing school adventure. So yeah, fundamentals of nursing is really going to get you started as far as the questions. I took it serious. I know a lot of people was like, oh, I'm a CNA, which I was a CNA at the time. I'm a CNA, you know, it is what it is. It's the same stuff we learn in CNA. It ain't nothing. But to me, it was something, because we started learning about elimination and constipation. What causes constipation? What causes like pressure ulcers? We started to get into certain things and getting to the root of what causes certain things that you see normally as a CNA, or that you see a lot in long-term care. So it gets you started with that. We did start our clinicals during fundamentals as well, but towards the end of fundamentals we started doing our clinicals. What else were we taking at the same time? We were also taking at anatomy and physiology. So at the school that I went to is a technical school for 1 year. The prerequisites that you would take as actual prerequisites before you get into a nursing program, those were considered our co-requisites. So A&P, human growth and development, I think it was just that A&P and human growth and development. You would usually take those before you start a nursing program, but they were all incorporated into the nursing program. So we took anatomy and physiology and fundamentals of nursing at the same time. A&P, I think A&P is when we lost our first person. So if you are looking to get into an accelerated, you know, LPN program, or just an LPN program in general, and you have to take A&P within that program, make sure you are on top of A&P. Anatomy and physiology is basically learning about the body and how certain parts of the body work and how they work together. It's very intense, it's very detailed, and it really is the bread and butter of this thing called nursing. And I feel like all nurses should keep continuing to learn about A&P, myself included, because it's just so important in knowing like disease process, and then also how you can then treat a person, different signs and symptoms. Why are they having this disease? What's causing this issue? What's normal and then what's not normal? Like anatomy and physiology is, you really need it. So yeah, we were taking that at the same time as well. And what else? Yeah, we started to do clinicals. So clinicals, I got videos talking about clinicals. I was not a big fan of them, especially because I'm already a CNA. I was already a CNA, and it was just like kind of like I'm going. You literally feel like you going to work. Like you paying to go to work, because you know you paying for school. So it's like I'm paying to go to work, and you just do CNA work. Now they do have you do other things, like, you know, they have you fill out certain things about your patients. So look up all their medications. Why are they on these medications? What diseases fit these medications? And then, you know, you kind of do a little nurse's note on that one patient, which is so unrealistic, y'all. Like the other day I had 45 patients and I'm only doing one nursing note on one patient while I'm in nursing school. But I digress. They need to really do something about that, because it's not the same at all when you get out here in the real world. It's not, like, at all. But anywho, yeah, so they had us doing that, and that was okay. It was cool. It didn't really have so much issues with clinicals. It's just, it is what it is. So we also, I feel like I'm not giving y'all a lot of information. I'm trying to think what else we were doing. So we did that, and then another course we took was Geriatrics, which all of us passed, because like I said, a majority of the people were already CNAs. So that's something to think about. If you're not already a CNA, the school, I'm going to tell you, they do not actually show you how to do CNA work. They pretty much assume that you know it. I know they shouldn't, but if you wasn't a CNA, like the only way you're going to really learn how to do more CNA type of work is if you take one of your classmates while you're at clinicals, be like, look, I ain't no CNA, I ain't never been no CNA. I'm going to need you to show me how to do this basic stuff, so that I have had to start and stop this video so many times. Okay, so what the heck was I saying? So if you don't have that training as a CNA, just know that you're gonna need to go a little bit harder to learn how to do CNA work, because you are gonna want to know how to do certain things like changing a bed while a patient is in the bed, how to change a patient properly, how to put a brief. It sounds easy, but if you don't do it, it's not easy to do, because it's easy to just be a hot mess as a nurse when you don't know how to do things that a CNA or a patient care tech would know how to do, like putting a person on a lift, something as simple as that. If you don't know how to do that as a nurse, it's just like, I mean, yeah, your aides will show you, but it's it's good to know how to do it yourself. That way you know when someone else is doing it properly or not, and you can go from there. And it also makes your job a whole lot easier when you're changing people, when you have to put a wound on somebody and you gotta be like, oh man, my patient dirty, let me go ahead and change him or her, and then get this wound looking real good and then keep it pushing. But if you've never been a CNA and you're a nurse and you're attempting to do that, it could be a real mess, and you could be bugging your CNAs, and they be like, you could have easily just did this yourself, like, why you calling on me? But you're like, I don't know how to do this stuff. So definitely take advantage of that time while you're in school to learn as much as you can to be, you know, a better nurse. Doors is closing and stuff, like, can I just do the video? We got our IV certification while in nursing school. I highly suggest that you get into an LPN program that has IV certification. I believe a lot of them do, but make sure you get one with IV certification, because it will just make your job a lot easier when you do become a nurse. Yeah, to have that certification. So that IV certification course was pass or fail. There was no A, no B, no nothing. Either you passed the class or you failed the class. That was that. So pretty much the teacher I wouldn't say like he gave us all the answers, but he literally had a whole study list for us, and we learned all the answers to the study guide, and that was that. But of course he taught us different things. We talked about all the different we talked about what our scope of practice is as an LPN compared to an RN. Like, what can you do as far as, like, you know, as LPNs you cannot handle blood products, but you can monitor a patient after and before they receive blood products. But you can't actually, you know, hang up some blood, some platelets, and go ahead and just put it into the patient. You can't do all that, but you can monitor it. So learning those, you know, legal things that you have to know to make sure that you do your job properly and you don't get in trouble was what we learned in that course. And then towards the end we did do IVs, but not on a real person. We did them on a mannequin, you know, the IV. We did all that, and you got checked off for that, and you passed it. Everybody passed that course, of course. So another class that we took was human growth and development. So within human growth and development, what you're learning about, let me go back. So within geriatrics, yes, it is pretty much everybody knew about geriatrics because you work in long-term care. But it did talk to you about certain things that happen with patients as they age. Of course, a lot of things slow down, and it also taught you that, you know, not all of your patients, just because they're old does not mean that they're senile. And it talked about certain things like just because a person gets older doesn't mean they lose their sex drive, or that they lose their will to live, or they lose their passion. It doesn't mean any of that. And so it just talked about also death and grieving and the whole death process, because of course when you work in geriatrics, that's the inevitable, right? So it talked about that as well. It went a little bit deeper than just, oh, I'm taking care of this older person. You know, it went a little bit deeper into it. So within human growth and development, you learn about life from the beginning to the end. You learn about each age group. It's a pretty easy class, but it's really interesting to learn about, you know, what happens during infancy and what's the natural, what do you call, like, milestones that a child has, and then what happens when they get school age, and what happens when they're teenagers. And then you learn about Erickson and all the freaking, I don't know, what was it? Oh my god, the different phases, like the oral phase, the anal phase, all this, like, it gets weird. Is it the anal phase? I'm just adding stuff out there. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Then you have like the isolation versus identity. I'm gonna have to go over that before I get back into school within like the next few months. I'm gonna have to look over that again. But yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about, like the different Erickson and Paget. That's who it was. Erickson and Paget, like the way that they thought about how a person ages. And you learn about Erickson. I already said Erickson. You learn about Maslow hierarchy of needs, which I think we learned about that in human growth, not human growth. We learned about that in fundamentals as well, but they reiterated again in human growth and development. And you also again learn about death and dying process and the whole grief process. And what is that person's name? It's like right there. But the person who came up with the process of grieving, yeah, you learn about that. You learn about what it's like to be in a sandwich generation, and when you're taking care of the sandwich generation, which is when you're at that age where you're taking care of children that still depend on you still, and then you're starting to have to take care of your mother and your father because they're at a certain point in their life where they depend on you as well. So you just learn about all the different phases in a person's life and what a person is going through at different phases of their life, what most of us have to go through at certain ages. Like at 18, okay, either now you're going to be more independent out there on your own, but you're still somewhat of a child and you're still linked to your family and what that means, you know, to be linked to your family, but you're still at that coming of age where you're like, I'm an adult now, but you're still really pretty young. You're a teenager still. So I like human growth and development because it just talks about all the different things, all the different ages, and it just really gives you a good overview of life, because as a nurse you never know who you're going to be dealing with. And even if you're only dealing with, say, geriatric patients, you might come across, I know for me, that's why I always remember sandwich generation, because I would come across family members, daughters and sons, who they'd be like, I really want to be up there, but you know, I'm at home with my kids, I'm gonna come up there to see my mom, but you know, I'm trying to take care of my kids. And like, I totally understood it, and I was like, I had more empathy for them, because I know, like, okay, you want to take care of your mom or your dad, but you got kids that you're trying to take care of too. So I totally got it. So definitely pay attention to human growth and development. So another course that we took, this was all in the first semester or trimester. So the classes were broken up into 3 sections. So a trimester, that's what we took in the beginning, and then we started to get into a little bit more in depth, talking about like really getting into the diseases. This is where like you really start learning when you get into Med-Surg. So Med-Surg will make or break you. More than likely it'll break you, and then afterwards you got to make yourself, like, for real. Med-Surg was intense because you start to learn about diseases, the signs and symptoms of those diseases, pathophysiology, so how those diseases actually carry out within your body, how you treat them, all of that, and why this disease can cause another disease. And then the questions, those NCLEX style questions, are intense. They will take you out. Med-Surg was intense, I'm not gonna lie. That's the first class that I got an F in, because I was late for a class. No, I was late for the test, and if you're late for the test, she takes 10 points off. Med-Surg, that was that. I think we lost, I can't remember how many people we lost in Med-Surg. I honestly cannot remember. I don't think we lost anybody in Med-Surg 1 to be, no, we did. We lost somebody in Med-Surg 1. I'm tripping. Yeah, we lost somebody. Yeah, we did. I'm sure we did. We lost somebody. You always lose at least one person in Med-Surg. It just is what it is. Oh, cheating. There was this thing where they thought people were cheating in the class. I don't freaking know, because I don't cheat. I was in the front and center row getting what I had to get done. I did not cheat. But they had this thing where, like, that, you know, they were saying people was cheating. They had to come in and watch and observe the class and all this other crap. Whatever. But it does happen. People do cheat their way through nursing school. I don't know how they do it, because like I said, I either you do it or you don't do it. Either you're gonna pass or you're not gonna pass. Like, I don't know. But yes, people do cheat in nursing school, so just keep that in mind. So next that I want to talk about is, we also did pediatrics. And pediatrics is it's kind of like peds and OB. I was just like, can we just get through this class? I didn't really care for it, because I knew as an LPN I would not be working with kids, and I would not be working with pregnant people. Now, of course, you definitely can, as an LPN, get jobs as pediatric nurses. You can become, especially pediatric home care, they do hire LPNs, and I'm sure you can get other peds jobs as an LPN. I'm sure you can work in an OB/GYN office as an LPN. I know someone who used to work at Planned Parenthood as an LPN. So there's options for you working with that demographic, but I knew I wasn't gonna be doing it, so I didn't pay attention to it that much. And also, people just talked so much about I didn't have kids at the time. I was married, but I didn't have kids. People talk so much about their kids and their pregnancy the entire class, and it was just like, can we just get through this? Like, can I just get my A and go? Like, why do we have to do this? But I will tell you that my peds clinical was really sad. We went to a children's home. Basically, like, these were children who, I guess they were just wards of the state. Like, their parents either couldn't take care of them, or they just didn't want them anymore. Some of the parents, I think that kids just had to be there for a little bit to get stable, and then they can go home. But it was sad. I can't do pediatrics. It's just, I can't even talk about it. Like, it's too upsetting for me to do pediatrics. But I commend all the peds nurses out there doing their thing. Like, y'all are a blessing. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you go girl, you go boy, okay? But I cannot do it. But yeah, peds was pretty rough, especially when you learn about some of the stories of why certain kids are there. Because like one child, I remember she wasn't born with any health issues. It was something that her parents did to her that caused her to have health issues. No, it was something that happened, an accident that happened that caused her to have health issues. But then afterwards, supposedly the way things transpire after that was really sad as far as what the parents did to her. So I just can't do it. I don't have a stomach for it. Like, I don't have the emotional, I'm not there. Yeah, I'm not there to do that. But pediatrics, I like the clinicals better than I like the class. The class is interesting too. I had a good peds teacher, and it really interesting to learn about all the different things that happen to children. I mean, dang, like, why is there so many diseases and illnesses that affect children? Like, it's crazy. And there's stuff that can happen just while you're in utero. Like, before you even make it to this world, like, all these different things can happen. When we was in OB and we learned about that, it's pretty intense. And I was not interested in OB really because I didn't have any kids, so I didn't have like a point of reference to like really let it stick to me in my mind. But you did learn certain terms like antepartum. That's all I remember. I don't even know what that means. But as y'all, I really just learned the material, just get through it and to ace the test. Like, I was not really learning it to absorb it. So definitely when I go back for my RN coming up soon, I will be really paying attention to those courses, because I know that I'm going to be coming across all different type of patients as an RN, because I do plan on being in the ER. So that's a long explanation. But anyways, my next class that I took was Med-Surg II, which things got a little rocky because they changed our teachers in Med-Surg II. So we had an amazing, phenomenal teacher. She was on point. She was strict. She was about her business. She didn't play no games, but she made sure that we all got through it. I mean, like I said, I think one person didn't make it. I can't remember. But anyways, she actually was there to teach you, and like she did a great job. They went ahead and sent her to a different campus, because another campus, they couldn't even pass for real. And they gave us a teacher who never taught Med-Surg. So she did a great job, honestly, I think, in my opinion. But people were still real salty the whole time. And I think that kind of messed up their ability to do well, because it was just like, where this teacher? I want her. Like, she's gone. Okay, it's time for us to adjust. That's the one thing they teach you in nursing school. You have to be flexible. But it's true. You gotta be flexible. You cannot just be, I want everything this way. It's not going to be that way. You know, it's not. And that's the same with nursing. Like, that's the one thing that they taught us in nursing school that I believe actually, like, transferred to nursing, is that you have to be flexible. You got to know that nothing is going to be the same every time you come in. It's not going to be the way you planned it. And you got to just go with the flow. You got to improvise. You got to be good on your feet. You have to just go with it and not be so, oh, why isn't it happening this way? It is what it is. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with certain situations that you are not in control of. So you got to be in control of you, so that you can move forward and be somebody's nurse. Like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, psych. So we did psych, mental health. And the one thing you learn in mental health is that pretty much all of your patients are going to be psych patients. Don't get me wrong, when I say that, like, everybody has some type of psychological thing going on with them, whether they know it or not, whether it's intense, whether it's noticeable. There's something going on, maybe something in your childhood that's causing you to act a certain way. Everybody got psych. No matter if you're in geriatrics, peds, OB, you're going to have patients with some type of psychiatric or psychological, whether it be illness, disease, or whether it be there's something going on with them that's deeper than just their physical needs. There's always a psychological need with the patient. The rotation was okay. I'm not really too much into mental health, but I do understand and respect that mental health is something super important that we all must take care of no matter what. So I do respect and I do see and understand that, but actually being a psychiatric nurse, I don't see myself doing that. And then the last class we took, because my battery finna go out. The last class we took was a leadership course. Basically, it was teaching you how to write a resume, how to do a cover letter, talking about like your interview what did it really even go into? It should have went into talking about interviews, like, for real. Why did they talk about interviewing? But talking about all those different things, basically like how to make yourself more marketable once you graduate. And they actually had us do our resume, which I really appreciated that. So yeah, that was how nursing school was. There was a lot of ups and downs to it, but you will get through it. It is hard. It can be very challenging, but you will learn so much about yourself, so much about what you are capable of doing, and it'll make you a stronger person, and it will make you a nurse. Trust and believe. You know, you just have to get through it. You have to realize you're not the only person who's ever been in nursing school, and you will not be the last person who went through nursing school. But use this channel as a resource. Use the Facebook group, YourFavNurseB Facebook group, as a resource. Other great Facebook groups out there as a resource. Go to my Instagram, go to other people's Instagram, other YouTube channels. Use this World Wide Web that we have as a resource. Make sure you hold on to your family and friends who are there for you. If they're not there for you, let them go. And just keep your mind aimed on where you want to be and where you see yourself. The money and the time and the sweat and the tears and the energy that you put into nursing school is worth it. It changed my life. It changed the life of my family. And it helped me to be who I am right now. Your fave nurse B. So as always, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or the video requests, put them down in the comment section. And I love you all. Peace.